To drink or not to drink? That's the question. Seems like a pretty easy question, pretty straightforward. Yeah, we need to drink. We all need water for hydration, and hydration and water is going to keep us alive. But there seems like there's a lot of murky water, in a sense, when it comes to this discussion, because so many individuals get hung up with, should they drink water directly from a source, or does it need to be purified, filtered, etc.? So today I want to talk a little bit about my opinion around this, and I'm going to show you a couple spots of different water sources, and we're going to talk about them. But I would like to say this: I'm a huge proponent of boiling. I think that you should be boiling your water if you have the resources to do so and the time to do it. And I added time in there because in the summer months, like right now here in Pennsylvania, it's 92 degrees, I think, last time I checked, and the humidity is about 85%. So it is just a brutal day, especially for me. I like cold weather. So it is hot. I'm going through a lot of water. So if I run out of water and I'm really pushing hard, what do? Do I stop? Because by the time I boil water and allow that water to cool, I don't want to put more hot water in my system. Do I have that much time before I start feeling the ill effects of dehydration? I don't know. That's something you need to think about. And a lot of this discussion is just to get you guys to think about stuff, okay? There's a million ways to purify water, okay? There's a million ways to filter water. And that's really not what we're talking. We're talking, should you ever just drink out of the source? And I'm going to tell you straight out, if you have no way to start a fire, no way to boil water, and you are not drinking, and it's going on 48 hours, 40 hours, 24 hours in very, very hot weather, and maybe even 12 hours in super hot weather, drink the water. Drink the water. You're either going to die from dehydration or you're going to get sick and possibly die anyway. So you might as well drink the water and prolong your life, hoping that maybe you'll get rescued down the road. Now, if you're hiking out of the woods and the car is a half-hour away, should you be drinking out of muddy puddles? Probably not. So, you know, there are things you need to think about. But if you're in a true situation and you are dehydrating, you can't start a fire, and even if you start a fire, you have no way to boil water, guys, drink the water, okay? I've drank out all kind of water sources, untreated, unfiltered, unpurified. I've never been sick on water. That's not saying I can't get sick. I've just never been sick in my area. So that's why I wanted to share my thoughts around this with everybody. You guys make up your own mind for yourself, and we'll see how we go from there. So let's go look at some water sources and talk about them. First up here is a pond. And any type of standing water like this, if I can help it, I'm going to try to stay away from it. Just because I know there's a lot of sign of animal coming up to this. I know there's no beaver or anything like this in this pond. I have drank out of this pond before, but I would have to say, in the whole scheme of things, I would stay away from this. The water's just laying, it's very hot, it's humid, there's a ton of bugs on this water, a lot of debris laying in this water. So where I would go from here is think, how is this being fed? Now I know where this is being fed from, so we're actually going to go there and find that. And I would advise anybody that would come across something like this, think about where's the water coming from. We know the water is coming from somewhere. If it's not coming from natural springs in the pond to fill it up, where's it coming from? Let's go look at that source. So ponds, following the inlet of the pond not too far, quickly revealed that up ahead of me, actually behind me, is a natural spring. The water's coming from there. You can actually stand back there and watch it bubble up. It's coming right out of the ground. So a source like this, even on a hot day like today, the sun's blazing, this water's running at a good flow. I'll take it. I'm going to drink it right from the source. I'm not afraid to drink this. The source is clean. I know the area enough that further up, there's nothing else feeding this. This is coming directly from the ground. So again, drink it up, you're good to go. A lake. Well, a lake's going to be similar to a pond in my mind. I'm looking out and I can see across from here what looks like a beaver lodge. So that's my first issue. Second thing is where I'm standing, a spot there and another spot that I walk past are all game trails leading up here. So there's a ton of tracks in here, so we have a lot of game coming up and drinking out of this water. and then we look at the water, it's really quite stagnant for the most part. And along any edge, you're going to get that. The water's going to lay very stagnant. So we have a little bit of debris laying on top, a lot of particles floating around, not really moving. So again, what I'm going to say for lakes to drink directly out of, primarily. Now, what we can do though is think about how this lake's getting fed. So you're seeing a common thread here. We're looking at direct water sources where the water is coming up from the ground or running into things is going to be better than this still just standing water. So I can look out in this direction. I know this travels downhill more, and this way, up this way, we have a mountain. So we know that probably the water's coming that way, so that's the way we'd head. Again, same as the pond area, if we can find an inlet that's actually coming out of the ground, that's going to be the most ideal. Of course, we don't want to go way out of our way to find that. So get away from just the still standing water and look for running water that's feeding into this. And it's going to eliminate a lot more of what can actually be pouring into this actual lake itself. So let's go look at the next spot. So we have a small creek here. Now this creek isn't flowing as heavily as it does sometimes. Sometimes this widens up to about 10 feet, but it's pretty much constant year round. There's water flowing from this. So what about something like this? Well, I know that behind me, up in this direction, is a mountain, and it's being fed from somewhere on the mountain. So I can put a couple things together. Number one, I'm looking at, does it smell? Sometimes creeks in our area and streams in our area begin to stink, and they almost have a moldy smell, so I would stay away from that. Color looks good. Not that that's a dead giveaway indicator that there still can't be something in the water, but the smell's okay, the color's okay. So I'm okay drinking this. I am going to take the assumption that there's not too much upstream that could be in here. Now, can there be a dead deer laying in this creek 50 yards up? Absolutely. But again, we're just talking about situations that, would I drink out of this or not, and directly. Would I drink directly out of this? So in this instance, I would take my chances in a scenario. If I had to drink out of this, I'm going to drink right out of it, okay? So small mountain streams, I'll give it a thumbs up. Emergency type scenario, if you need to drink and have no other resources to boil your water or purify or filter your water, drink the water. All right, guys, so that was a few different water sources and my thumbs up or thumbs down on it. Again, ideally you want to filter and purify your water via boiling to be absolutely the most safe. But again, I just want people thinking, is it possible to drink out of a water source directly? It is. Is there a possibility you're going to get sick? There is. But just think about that and put that in your toolbox and start to think about that when you're out. I'm not saying you have to go out and test every water source, because water sources can change over time. But if you start to look at things and be able to draw conclusions about, well, what if type scenarios, it'll make you a better woodsman. So one thing we didn't talk about though was rivers, and I'm really not in an area that I have access to too many rivers. They're quite far away, larger rivers. Rivers are always going to be a down. There's so much stuff feeding in them, there's so much pollution in most rivers that you're really going to want to stay away from that, drinking directly from it. Okay, so this is just something for you guys to think about. Nothing's set in concrete with this. It's really for you guys to draw your own conclusions and make that decision when you're out. But like I said at the beginning of this video, you don't want to die sitting next to your stream because you're afraid of drinking the water. Worst case scenario, if nothing else, drink the water. And then just take your chances with it. So this was Dan Wolak with Coalcracker Bushcraft. Check us out over at coalcrackerbushcraft.com for our blog, store, and everything else that we have to offer. And until the next video, stay in the woods, guys.